So, once again, number one, we're dealing with perpetual inventory this time. So, let's journalize, okay? On April 5th, we purchased 1,000 units at $5 each with a freight cost of $100, okay? On an account, terms were 5%, 10, net 30. Okay? So, again, uh, for 5, we purchased 1,000 units at $5 each with the freight costing $100 on an account. Terms were 5%, 10, net 30. How do we journalize this?
With inventory. Oh wait.
Yeah, we do. We didn't specify what we bought, so inventory is correct.
And then I didn't really see it. Oh, it's on account.
Uh-huh.
So account payable.
Account payable. Okay, good. Now, how much is going to be the amount?
5,100.
Good, 5,100. Okay, the purchase price is 5,000 plus $100 free, gives you a total of 5,100. Okay, and here I'm also going to make note here that I purchased this on an account, right? That let me see, purchased 1,000 units at $5 each. Right? And I was given terms 5%, 10, net 30. Right? Okay. All right. So then let's see what happened next. Then on April 7, right, we end up returning 200 damaged units for a full refund. Okay. So on April 7, we end up returning 200 damaged units for a full refund.
So you would just do account payable and inventory.
Good. Correct, right? You would just take it right back out from inventory, right? And then because we didn't pay yet, right? Our only option here is that we're going to reduce what we owe. So then you're going to do inventory. Okay. Now in this case, how much is going to be my full refund for?
1,000.
For 1,000, right? Because we have 200 units at $5 each. So my refund is going to be 200 times $5, which is $1,000. Okay. And I'm going to make a note here that I am return 200 units at $5 each for full refund. Okay. So then April 10 rolls around and we end up purchasing 750 units at $5.75 each with a freight of 75 on an account. Terms were 5%, 10, net 30. So, once again, how am I going to journalize this?
With inventory and accounts payable.
Okay, inventory and accounts payable. Okay. On April 10, right? But this time we bought 750 units at $5.75 each with a freight of 75. So how much is my grand total here?
4,387.50.
Good. 4,087.50. Oop, 87.50. Okay, good. And this time we purchased 750 units at $5.75 each. Okay. With the terms of 5%, 10, net 30. Okay. So then April 15 rolls around and we end up returning 50 broken units due to shipment. However, we are going to get a full refund.
With
Accounts,
Accounts payable?
account payable.
Mm-hmm. Good, right? Accounts payable, and inventory, right? But this time we are returning 50 broken mugs for a full refund. Okay. Okay, so this was April 15. Okay. We're returning 50 mugs for a full refund. 50 units for a full refund. Okay, in this case, what's my price point here?
$5.75.
At $5.75 each, full refund. So, therefore, how much is my total refund for?
$287.50.
$287.50. Okay, good. So then let's see. On April 20th, we end up purchasing 200 more units for $6 each, with the freight costing $20 on an account. Terms were 5%, 10, net 30. So once again, April 20th, right? We have inventory, right? Because we purchased 200 units at $6 each. Okay, with a freight of 20. So therefore, what is my total price here? Or my total amount here?
1,220.
Good, right? Okay. Now in this case, we have on the 22nd of April that 25 of those mugs were the wrong color, and we were willing to accept a 20% discount.
Accounts payable and inventory.
Accounts payable and inventory, right? But this time we have 25 mugs were the wrong color, but we were willing to accept a 20% discount. So how do we calculate that?
Oh, 25.
So in this case, right, every batch that we purchase, right, and every batch that we return or get an allowance for is typically from the previous inventory that we just purchased. So in this case, my last batch that I bought on the 20th, how much did it cost me per unit?
$6.
$6. So if I'm getting a 20% discount because I'm attempting to return 25 of them, what is my discount amount?
30.
How much?
30.
30?
30. Yes.
Okay, so that's good. Okay, good. So 25, right, times 6 should give you like 150 or something like that. And then 20% of that is 30. Okay. Okay. And then let's see what happened next. Lastly, on April 25th, we end up purchasing an additional 500 units at $6.25 each, with a freight costing $50 on an account. Once again, terms are 5%, 10, net 30. So how much is this? Okay. If I purchased 500 units at $6.25, okay, with a freight of $50, right? How much is my total for this batch of inventory?
It would be 3,175.
Good, right? 3,175. Okay. Now, last thing that we have here on April 30th is that we end up making a payment to all 4 purchases of inventory, right? But this time we wrote 4 separate checks. So let's go ahead and take one batch of purchase and take it at one time, okay? So first thing we have here is we bought on April 5th, okay? We purchased 1,000 units, but then on April 7th, we end up returning 200 units, okay? And in this case, right, we were also given terms. Now, did we meet the discount due date? Or did we get terms?
No.
No, right? They only gave us 10 days, so we had to pay on the 15th. So in this case, no, I don't get an additional discount here. However, let's check out how much I actually owe and how much I have to pay. So in this case, right, if I started out with 5,100, right, that's what I owed, right, and I've ended up getting a refund for $1,000. How much is this payment for?
4,100.
4,100. So I'm gonna go ahead and make that note here, right, and we're gonna write them on 4 separate checks. Okay. So in this case, if I'm going to write them on 4 separate checks, what accounts am I going to be looking at?
Count.
Okay, right? Because that's what we owe, right? We owe 4,100 for the first batch of inventory. And if we're going to pay with a check, what account are we going to be taking out from? Good.
Checking account.
Good. Checking account. Okay. For 4,100. Okay. And of course, I'm going to make a note here, right? Paid for purchases on April 5th, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and use check number 101, or check number 1, okay? Since it's my first check, okay? And it's going to be for 4,100 because my purchases on April 5th, this is what that I owed, okay? So then let's go ahead and write the check out for the second batch of inventory. So the second batch of inventory we purchased on April 10, 750 units at $5.95. Okay? But then on April 15, we end up returning 50 of those items. Okay? Now in this case, I was also given terms. Did I meet my terms?
No.
No.
No, right? 10 days from April 10 would be April 20th. So in this case, no, I missed the discount period once again. So therefore, let's take a look at how much I actually owe. Okay? So if I owed originally on April 10, right, $4,387.50, and I end up refunding $287.50, how much do I actually owe?
$4,100.
4,100. So once again, same thing here, right? Except in this case, right? This is for purchases made on April 10, and I used check number 2, right? Because this is separate from the previous one, right? That's how we make a difference between the first one and the second one, is that, well, this one was for purchases that I made on April 10, and I used the second check for this one. But the total amounts were the same. Okay? So let's go ahead and pay for our third batch of inventory. So let's take a look. Okay? Third batch of inventory we purchased on April 20th. Okay? So in this case, I purchased 200 units at $6 each, okay? And I end up getting an allowance for 20% off of 25 that I was trying to return, right? Because they sent me the wrong color. So I end up getting a 20% discount off of those 25 units. So in this case, right, we need to make sure we know how much we owe. Now, in this case, did I meet my terms?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you did, because this time, right, I purchased on April 20th, so therefore, by April 30th, I should receive a 5% discount. So let's go ahead and take a look at what amount we owe right now, okay? So just let's keep in mind that when we purchased the 200 units, right, the freight cost me $20. Okay? So let's take a look here. On April 20th, right, we originally purchased it for $12.20, but we end up returning $30 worth. Okay? Now, in this case, I also have to calculate my 5% discount. So in this case, let's talk about how much I owe in the first place, because that's usually the starting point. How much do I owe to this vendor?
1220.
1,019.
Good, 1,190, because in this case, right, we purchased it originally on the 20th for the 12.20, but we end up returning or getting a discount for $30. So therefore, I should be left with $11.90. So then now that's what I owe, right? So that's the first thing I'm going to recognize is my accounts payable for the $11.90. Now in this case, how much was my 5% discount? Okay.
$59.50.
$59.50. How did you figure that number out?
I multiplied the 1190 times 5%.
All right, so $11.90. What does $11.90 include?
Freight.
It includes the freight. And how much was freight?
50.
20.
It was $20. So therefore, you discounted the freight as well, which can you do?
No.
No. So in this case, I have to go back and take a look at this, okay? So let's see. If I originally purchased, right, 200 units at $6 each, right? So therefore, my total purchase price is $1,200. But if I end up returning 30 of those units, therefore I'm left with $11.70. Freight was my 20 extra dollars I have to pay separately. So in this case, I can only take my discount off of my purchase price, which is $11.70. So what is 5% of 11.70?
20,000. 58.50.
58.50. So in this case, I'm going to be discounting 58.50 because since I'm paying on time and I deserve the discount, right? Am I going to pay more or am I going to pay less than what I owe? Less. Okay, so therefore it's a credit. Okay, so in this case, what account am I going to take this discount from?
Inventory.
Yes, you're going to discount your inventory because you're paying for the inventory items at a discounted price. Okay, and of course, we're writing the third check here. So our last option here is checking. Okay, or last account is checking. So therefore, how much is my check amount going to be?
$11.50.
Okay. I'm having a hard time. I don't think this is... So in this case, right? Does our total debits match our credits?
Well, I think I got the discount wrong. I think it's 59.50. My bad.
Let's try.
No, I got
Let's
58.50.
check
It doesn't
it.
equal out. It's got 53.
Right, we're missing something, right? What are we missing? So let's go ahead and take a look. So
Freight.
11.70, right? Times
Are you missing
0.5%. You're missing you're missing the freight. So it is actually 11.31.50, right? You forgot to
Yes.
add the $20 in. Okay? Because this price includes the freight as well, because that's what we owe to the company, right? We owe everything including the freight. Right? So there you go. Right? Nope. The 58.50 is correct. Because if you take 5% of 11.70, it is 58.50. So that one's correct. Okay. So then I'm gonna go ahead and make a note here that I paid for purchases on April 20th, right? With a check number 3. And I'm also going to even write that I got a 5% discount because I paid on time with the terms. Okay, so that's what this is right here. This inventory that I'm taking out is my 5% discount. Okay. All right, last but not least, okay, the last inventory that we have to pay for is on the 25th. Okay, so we purchased 500 units at $6.25 each, with the freight costing $50 on an account. Terms were 5%, 10, net 30. Obviously, right, we made the discount. So now we need to figure out what 5% discount's going to be, right? In this case, no returns or allowances. So let's take a look at our account, or let's take a look at how much we owe for April 25th. April 25th, right? We purchased inventory for $3,175. Okay. Now, of course, this includes freight. So I need to take a discount off of the 3,125, right? Because $50 was to freight. Okay? Or you could just figure it this way, where you take your 500 times the 625 and you take the discount off of that. Right? So how much is so in this case, right, it's going to look exactly like this, except my numbers are going to look different. Okay? So let me plug this in here. 430. In this case, how much do I owe in grand total for the purchase that I made on the 25th?
$3,175.
3,175. Okay? Now in this case, because I'm paying within terms, I should receive a 5% discount. Now, what is 5% of 3125? Because that's taking out the $50 freight. So 3125 times 0.5 gives you,
Would it be 156.25?
correct. So in this case, how much am I going to write my check out for?
$3,018.75.
3018. I think you might have added
Oh no,
2020.
2020. $31.75 minus 156.25. Wait, what did you? Okay, so it. Okay, what was it again?
3018.75.
Good, 3018.75. Good. Okay, and then once again, we're gonna make our note that we paid for purchases on April 25. Check number 4, and we received a 5% discount. Okay. All right, good. Any questions in regards to the 7.1 exercise?
No.
Okay. I don't think we have enough time to do chapter 7, the other half of chapter 7. So what I'm going to do is we'll continue that tomorrow, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go early.